Welcome to a little bonus pod. Josh and I, we did our normal thing on the main feed, but on the secondary bonus feed here, I got Justin Henson from the Movie Wire podcast and Back to the Balcony to talk about the number 3 movie of the weekend. That's right, kids. Not the number 1, which is Spider-Man. Not the number 2, which is Odyssey. Or is it Odyssey? What is number 2? Whatever. It doesn't matter. The number 3 podcast. I mean, not podcast. The number 3 movie. Written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, a celebrated director of It Follows and apparently working on It Follows Me Home. I don't know, they keep threatening us with the second one. But he did The End of Oak Street. Or rather, I should say, according to all the advertisement, all the press, it's not David Robert Mitchell's The End of Oak Street. It is J.J. Abrams' End of Oak Street, which is a little bit of a lie considering he's one of 7 producers on this damn thing. But Justin, how are you today, sir? Was your movie going experience any good?
Roar. That is just as effective as the dinosaurs of The End of Oak Street and a dinosaur movie. I will repeat. Roar. Here's the deal.
Yep.
Thank you for having me on. I saw this last night, and my God, this one baffles me. It baffles me on the critic reviews. It baffles me on the user reviews. Everybody has their own opinion, but for the fuck, I'm going to have my opinion. This one, I don't understand. And I think I messaged you at midnight in a bourbon rage that I can understand the sci-fi element, the wonder, the putting the puzzle pieces together. I liked all of that. But I am fucking sick and tired of these CGI dinosaurs that look so shitty. The shadows don't even match. They're not spending time on the effects. Make us into this environment where we feel something. And I'm going to get into McGregor's performance in a second, but I want to focus on the topic at hand. This is a dinosaur movie. This one has the set design. It has the cinematography to really match and really bring us into this environment. I'm going to stop myself because I feel like I can do my own review in this, and I still have to release my review. I want to include you in this. Alex,
Yeah, okay.
What was your thoughts on this? Because I swear to God, if you say you like it, I am ending this call.
The End of Oak Street has the feeling of a throwback film. It is definitely trying to tap in. So many interviews I saw, it feels like an emblem film, which we talked about that, Justin. We talked about that with Disclosure Day about they're not branding it as Spielberg anymore. They're branding things as emblem films. They're trying to move away from Spielbergian or Hitchcockian, even though people say Hitchcockian, he had a production company. They're trying to move away from that to saying emblem. And I guess emblem is a catch-all for 70s, 80s, young childhood whimsy, kids on bikes situation. The film is mostly about Anne Hathaway as Denise, an aspiring novelist who is dealing with depression and disappointment in her life. She has an older daughter, is about to graduate high school, and of course the older daughter is introduced with her family can't afford to send her to where she wants to go. She wants to go to Cornell. Then she's disappointed in her young son because her young son doesn't understand that you can't bring the dog who's untrained out to this block party. Disappointing her husband because her husband not even secretly, he freaking delivers pizzas, but she finds it depressing that he has the pizza delivery logo on his roof, and she makes him take it off whenever he gets home and stash it in the garage, even though that is the heaviest pizza delivery thing ever. It's like chained on there with like ratchets and is full metal.
It's 1982. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. And then over the course of a few days, there's a casual mention of some sunspotting really happening. And then the family is transported 200 million years into the past because like a 1.5 mile block of the city of their neighborhood is transported. The movie escalates from there. It is definitely a throwback, don't resolve everything, don't explain everything kind of creature feature. It is exactly the kind of thing that you could have seen released in the 80s, early 90s. I respect the creature design that they're trying to, because basically nowadays, if you have a dinosaur, it is a Jurassic Park dinosaur. So they went with a design that's adding more like feathering or furring to some of the creatures, blending some with the more modern scientific feel that a lot of the dinosaurs were actually feathered in some manner, or at least proto feathering. Sure, I respect that. I respect the hell out of the score. The score, I believe, was written for the script. It was not written for what was filmed, because was it Michael Giaccone's score is fantastic. It is bombastic. It is loud. It is fun. And it is a completely different score than the film. I respect the hell out of David Robert Mitchell because I love It Follows. It Follows is fantastic, tightly scripted, wonderful movie. Got Makaya Moreau's she was a lead actress, Jay, in that film. Fantastic allegory for your sexual history, STDs, channeling you. Nowadays, we might call it contact tracing because of COVID. Under Silver Lake. Did you ever see Under Silver Lake? His film after that.
I did, yeah.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I thought it was mysterious. The tone was spot on. It really followed It Follows. I mean, this is a director that knows tone, but this is one that really doesn't work with tone. This is one that you have the performances almost working against the time setting of 1982, the ones working against the tone. Now, the cinematography is good. When we look at the neighborhood, it all looks fantastic. You have the houses, you have the suburbs, you have all that jazz. So, but here's where it takes me out of this element is you mentioned the score. I hated the score. This is where it, don't give me that look. This is where I have a problem, where you have to have music supplement the action. I started getting distracted by it. It's where, like I told Antonio from Back to the Balcony, my biggest pet peeve is having the fucking oboe in old school movies, talking and walking these characters through thematic elements. Here we have dinosaurs that we can almost hear the dun 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 dun. It drove me nuts because it took away from the danger. Where the movie is at its best is where it doesn't have music, where we can see these characters in its pure environment. The best scene of the movie, if you take away the shitty CGI, is where we have the big snake crawling through the house. And you have almost a nod to the kitchen scene of Jurassic Park, where we see kind of the shot of the head going through the house. There was little to no music here, and we were stuck in the suspenseful moment. But that is where the movie really misses, is it has to hold our hands and have this music to really coincide with any time a dinosaur is on screen. Let us take it in. You can tell there's a lack of confidence here when anytime a big giant Spinosaurus or a big carnivore is on screen, we have to have music. When we have something small, there's no music. This is a really big unbalance to how this movie really creates suspense. But I will give the movie credit. There are moments of suspense in this movie. There are moments of great shots. There are moments when it utilizes the suburb community. So there is a shot where we have a zoomed out holistic, where we're trying to find this damn portal that I'm going to sidetrack here a little bit, where it is literally an episode of 1995 Sliders, where they're going through portals into different environments, where it just feels so cheesy. This movie, I was cautious of because I looked at the runtime and I was nervous, saying, we have a dinosaur movie. We have a lot of context that can go into it. Why is it an hour and 39 minutes? This should be prolonged. And this one, again, it feels like an episode of Sliders where it just rushes itself. And the problem I have is we really do have this dramatic conflict. Now, we have the 1982 setting. We have something in the background that I think a lot of people will miss of experiments and paradoxes that NASA's doing. But the family is so stuck in their own dramatics, but the dramatics are never really up front and center because it's a 90-minute movie. We don't really get the core problem of this family. We get marriage, and along marriage, we kind of lose the feeling. We have conflict. We have the loss of jobs, whatever it may be. But it's never really fully addressed, except for when it's convenient for the story, where it just says, you lost your job? I'm mad at you. Why didn't you tell me? It's all convenience. There's no real in-depth conflict here other than monsters on the screen. And the monsters are just artificial CGI creatures that just kill, kill, kill.
I can agree with you. The tone of this film is one of the things that distracted me severely. One of the things is the Jurassic Park films and films of that caliber, whether it's monster films or kaiju films or something like that, is that people forget the first about hour 15 of Jurassic Park is wonder. It is majesty. It is beauty. Now, the reason why it doesn't work, and as Malcolm said in The Lost World, oh yes, ooh, and then later comes running, tearing, screaming. That was a commentary on what is going to happen, what we know will happen. It is something that the newest Jurassic Rebirth film lost, because we all know what's going to happen, that this is a cheat to try to give us oohs and ahs and glory and a majesty before the horror sets in. This film never gives us those moments. Even if it is a cheat, we need the cheat. We need to know this is coming. There's a mystery that's unraveling. We need some awe. We need to respect what is happening in front of us. We need the Godzilla moments of people standing, whether it's awe or terror, of seeing the height, the majesty, the sheer enormousness of the sheer feeling that we are tiny before the running and screaming begins. And we don't have that in this film. But what also doesn't work for me about this film, it tries to play with early Spielberg, in that Spielberg works well because throughout his films, he has either reluctant fathers or broken families. That is a major through of his work. I think one of the best examples of that, I don't believe he was a producer on it, but Mrs. Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire takes the broken family, takes it to Robin Williams' extreme, and ends with power because the family does not get back together. Spoiler for like a 35-year-old film. But the family does not end up back together. In fact, the family is better because it is broken, because then you can heal. And that bothered me about this film, because there's a part just before Ewan McGregor makes a noble sacrifice, in which the parents are screaming at it. They're already in the past. People are dying. They boarded up the entire house. Their family has almost died, in which they're just screaming at each other. And it cuts away from that, and you only hear the sounds of them screaming at each other as the children are. One is 17 or 18. The other looks to be about, I think they said he's 12 or 13. And they're crying and trying to block it out. This is normal for them. And I like, in theory, that moment. I hate it in execution. One possibility could be, hey, thanks for including my childhood in this film. But the most important one is that the tone of that moment does not satisfy the resolution of that moment, which is the noble sacrifice. That doesn't work for me. But also, if you were transported 200 million years in the past, you have no escape. You've tried to escape. You can't. You hear a lot of looting and death happening outside of that. And the most important thing for your family in that moment is to have an argument over whether your wife publishes a book and whether or not you can find a job. And your children are used to this argument. Your family is irrevocably broken, and that noble sacrifice and then resolution to the film do not work. There is no happy ending here. You are literally in the worst part the worst situation of your life, where everything has broken down. You're about to be starving for food. And what happens is you can't resolve a situation where you work together. That, to me, is where the film completely broke apart, because the noble sacrifice is the one quote unquote good thing that he did all film. And then the ending was a massive, for once, I understand what Crispin Glover was saying about Back to the Future's ending. Crispin Glover famously said about Back to the Future, the reason why he hated it was, it looks like commerce and money solves everything, because Marty's family gets a pay bump upgrade in the new version, and he hated it. This one has the exact same thing happen, and I finally understand why. Because the resolution for this film, when you finally find it, is they have a shit ton of money. And I'm like, nope. The marriage is still together. Someone's off at Cornell. They have a shit ton of money. This does not work. This is bad. This is a terrible decision here.
Well, this week I'm reviewing The Last House, and I was going to review it last week, but I was too pissed off, so I moved it to another one so I don't feel like negative Nancy. But here's kind of the deal. We take this environment, and here's where I will give a small spoiler alert to my episode. A small, microscopic credit to The Last House is that they check all the boxes. Where you're in a very survivalistic situation, you have to check your food, you have to inventory all of it, you have to see how you're going to be entertained, you're going to have all this stuff. We don't get any of that here. We're in a world of dinosaurs, and here's the deal. We don't need to have Spielberg's awe of dinosaurs, but we do need to have an awe of the situation that we're in. We don't get that. We get reaction, board up the house, fine and dandy. But here's also where it drives me nuts is we take, and I've read a couple of reviews where they say it takes us to Spielberg, it takes us to nostalgia. These are critics that downgrade movies because of that. It's the feeling of it. It's the style of it, of how it made it feel. This didn't take me there. Yes, we get nods. Like I mentioned earlier, we get like the snake in like the kitchen where it reminded me of the kitchen scene. But it didn't take me back to what some critics are saying, like Gremlins, Jurassic Park. This is the best dinosaur movie in years. That's a horrible comparison, because here's the deal. I think this would have been better with a bigger budget. Bigger budget doesn't mean more CGI. It means more practical effects, because they're more expensive if done right. I think those scenes with the big carnivores would have been better with practical effects, where we're zoomed in, not zoomed all the way out, just seeing people being chased. This is something that completely disappointed me, because it really did feel like just a generic. I mean, Primitive War, I think, came out last year, and it did the same thing. Turn down the lights, don't show us anything special, but we know dinosaurs are there. Put in one badass scene after another, and we're entertained. I don't feel that here. It's all bright and sunny. How do we utilize the suburbs in this bright and sunny environment? I mean, we have, I think, halfway through the movie where we see the border of this tropical jungle, and I wanted to push this movie, say, go explore that. Give us more of an adventure story than just run, fight, hide from these monsters. This is one that I think really does hint at something bigger, but it's cut short on a smaller budget and just an idea that's just mere premise. It's just concept with no real idea of execution. And when we take the how to survive, and I love what you just said, where we take the comment of, this family is full of conflict. They're full of pain. We never hear about it except for where it's convenient for the story. But we get the idea that they're suffering a lot of pain, so they're going to survive more than the retired couple next to them, the single bald guy next to them. So they are understanding of survival instincts on the interior. So I like all that stuff. But at the same time, it's never truly explored here. It's just mentioned. We have to fill in the blanks. And I don't like hand-holding with movies, but at the same time, it could have gone deeper. Either go deeper with the adventure aspect of it or go deeper with the family concept. But it really does try and balance all of these things, such as the sci-fi element that looks kind of cheap, the family conflict, the dinosaurs, it's never balanced. It just feels like it's throwing things at the screen to build excitement. And in a summer movie, I get it. I do. We want pure entertainment, but it hints so much at something more. It's hard to be entertained by this movie. I don't know. I can appreciate it for what it is. I had some moments that are memorable, but at the same time, we have to realize when we make movies like this, the full potential of it. This one could have been the next best thing to Jurassic Park when it comes to sci-fi, when it comes to connecting with the characters and the overall feel-good moment that it attempts at the end. But here's also the deal, is that the performances are way off track. McGregor feels like he was told, hey, this is set in 1980s. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to give my best American accent from the 1950s. I'm going to be that drunken guy that smiles all the time and just yells at his wife. It is so off. I don't know. The only feeling I got from this movie, and take it as you will, meme it as you want, is when the Brachiosaurus furry animals are having sex on a house. That's the only time I felt something in this movie. Don't judge me.
Hey, I actually really loved that scene because it's one of the scenes where I feel like they truly knew what they were trying to capture in that moment, because the sound design was great, the score was subtle, and then it's revealed, and it's a great joke. Two brachiosaurs, furry, look like they have mange. They do a close up of the house, the roof buckling under their pads, and they're just.
No, but that's still a missed opportunity, because if they wanted to do a nod to Spielberg, it would have been McGregor doing the Alan Grant, Sam Neill point right behind him in the picture, not holding a damn shovel. He should have been in awe of these dinosaurs having sex on a house.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
It was just great. I laughed. So Ewan McGregor is a good actor. Everything around Hollywood is he's a very low key, chill kind of guy. Apparently, they a few times for the Star Wars sequel trilogy, they wanted him to do some, like, bring in some lines, and he's like, oh yeah, I got a thing. I'll be shooting in New York at this time. And he apparently just showed up on his motorcycle, walked in, said all the lines, waved, and walked out. He doesn't carry an entourage with him to do things. He's just chill. What did they do to his face? Because the makeup on him is so bizarre. I don't know if they were trying to age him up or age him down, because he is 55. You know, he looks his age, I think. Maybe late 40s. But I don't know what they were doing with his face, because the makeup is so pancakey that he looks rubbery. He looks Play-Doh-y, and it bothered me the second he was on screen. Then the reason why it sucks so much out to me is they have him in shorts and like a tank top so long that's his normal skin tone, and it threw me off. Did that throw you off, that he looked weird?
He looked weird because I think his performance was weird. I think between the two, where he feels he needs to smile in every shot, he needed to be, again, I think the decade was off with him. He didn't understand the assignment, and it really did kind of mimic the way he looked. I think he smiled too much. He was too calm. I think it wasn't necessarily the makeup to it. I think that may have contributed to it, where they didn't really screen test it to say, hey, does the audio match the video? Because his performance was way more animated than anybody else on screen. I mean, it's like he almost tried to mimic the kids on screen.
Okay, I can see that.
Where it was just the energy. I think this isn't at all his best performance. I think he really didn't get the assignment here. And I don't think it's necessarily, again, the look. I think it's a mixture between look and performance, because he is way too happy and animated, and we see no emotional basis to him when there's a conflict introduced. It's just like he's trying to, and to an extent, I can see a piece of it where he's trying to say, I need to be relevant to this family. I need to be strong. But again, we run into this problem where we don't get enough depth to this character or conversation or discussion to justify that. So he's trying to output it through his performance, but it just becomes silly.
I agree with that.
You know what? That's the one saving grace from this movie is I did love Anne Hathaway because here's the deal. She's the one other than the kids that have kid performances. They're decent. They put a bow and arrow on a kid's back, and that's the adventure aspect of it. Anne Hathaway is the badass that just lost her work that she was doing. She knows the mom instinct of, you know what? I'm going to be the only one with a shotgun. Everybody else, grab your little hammer, grab your baseball bat. I'm the fucking mom. I run this family. So I loved that aspect of it, of the empowerment, because you do have the dad, McGregor, who, again, is the typical dad of the 80s that doesn't want to hurt his pride, that he's working all these odd jobs. And, mom is stay at home, but she has this creative outlet, which I love, that little tidbit to it. But you know who's in charge here? When you have a big ego, and that's important to today, is when you have a big ego, you kind of leave yourself vulnerable where somebody else has to take charge. McGregor here, he gets eaten pretty quick and pretty subtle. And, well, not subtle, but it's a quick death. Spoiler alert. Should I have said that before?
Subtle. The mom slowly walks the children around it while there's crunching for like 20 seconds.
That whole scene was like 2 minutes tops. There was no emotional build. It went for shock factor. That's why I said subtle. But at the end of the day, we know that there is a leader here that really wants to protect her family. And I think when it comes to the outcome, and I won't say it, I'll leave this to you if you want to cover it, is the ending shouldn't have been the ending that we had. It
Correct.
was too much of a happy ending. It was a solve that shouldn't have been solved, because at the end of the day, the audience is left with conflict that's unresolved. And it's just everything tied together with a nice little bow. And that's what this movie didn't deserve, especially with no emotional buildup to it.
I think we can leave with happy ending. I already said my piece earlier where it feels undeserved, and I finally understand Crispin Glover. In terms of things I liked about the film, like I said, Anne Hathaway did great. Banner year. Devil Wears Prada, massive. Odyssey, massive. Probably best performance of that movie. Most believable performance of that movie, too. The cinematography was good. I liked the idea of the dinosaur design. All right, so one of the things I think stands out of place in this film that did not need to be resolved. The kids are having problems because they're acting out. The young boy walking around with a bow and arrow, and apparently threw a stick through a bicycle spike and caused this kid he didn't like to break his arm. His older brother's going to come beat the shit out of him, right? Dinosaur chaos is happening. Most of the people in this place are dead, except for apparently the children, because apparently the children are smart enough not to get eaten by dinosaurs, but apparently all the adults are, right? Out of nowhere, gets barreled into by a big bully guy who punches the shit out of him. And the younger brother with the broken arm is like, that's enough. We're all going to die out here. And they leave. He's like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. We are in trouble with dinosaurs, even though apparently all the family's already dead. It's been like a week. That feels like some producer note who's like, are we ever going to deal with that? It's like, I guess I can have him beat the crap out of for 5 minutes and then no one talks about it again. I feel like this script, because David Robert Mitchell is a darker storyteller. He likes exploring themes that are more real. I feel like this script is probably about 20 minutes longer and more gory. And I wonder if when the producers came on board and someone looked at it and went, wait, dinosaurs passed? Bump the budget up from maybe 50 million to I think it's around 80, just enough for a lot more CGI dinosaurs, and said we can make this a good late August release that nets us some money. I feel like there's a neutering that happened, and what we're looking at is the unfinished relic of is the tampered relic of what could have been.
August has always been kind of the last resort dumping ground of summer blockbusters. I mean, I think The Fugitive broke that kind of trend back in the 90s. But here's kind of where it mimics what you said, is when we take this movie of what the potential could be, I mean, here's the environment that we both agree it looks good, but it feels like we just dragged and dropped dinosaurs into this environment. I mean, there was one point that I got so almost distracted by the dinosaurs, not in awe, but just distracted, that I started paying attention to the shadows of, does it match it? The dinosaurs inserted with the CGI match it? And the shadows that we have that the dinosaurs present is so lame. We have these very light hues of shadows, but given how sunny the tone is, this should be, given the size of the dinosaurs, really deeper shadows going through the sunny area. And, the other disappointment here is the soundtrack, the marketing, the trailers that deliver us something of a 80s tone. We don't really get, except for one moment in a car that ends up a very stupid scene from a stupid teenager saying, we're being killed by dinosaurs. There's a lot of chaos here. Let's go into the car, turn on the headlights, and turn on the radio. These are a lot of characters that do stupid things, and all in the tradition of driving a story. And when we talk about stupidity, did you at one point just wonder, okay, everybody around us is dying. So instead of let's go wander the streets, how about we just go next door and see what food they have? They don't have food? Let's move to the next house. Everybody in the neighborhood we know is dead. But eventually we just go across town on foot and nothing happens. So there is a lot of survival instincts that the writers tend to make these smarter individuals than what the audience. It's almost like an insult to the audience where we say, why don't you do this? And it never happens. So it's a lot of these little things that distract us from being engaged into this environment, engaged into these characters, and want to root for them. By the end of the movie, I didn't root for any of these characters because there's no emotional attachment. I thought they were dumb, and I didn't think they had any survival instincts to it. Is common sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only person who acts with any kind of purposeful agency is Denise, Anne Hathaway's character. And even then, she tries to let Ewan McGregor's character take the lead a few times because she's like, hey, you need to step up. There needs to be moments, something. And when he does, it almost always is in a purposefully bad direction. The son is a complete moron who has no survival instincts. I mean, hey, I love Boogie, Dexter, Thunderstruck, Starbuck, the dog. The dog's name is Starbuck. Starbuck's a good dog.
Dog is fat.
Yeah, the fat, chonky dog. Great. However, I am not chasing it through dinosaur and tick-infested territory for it. That dog apparently has some problems. He has emotional problems, but is smart enough to bite his own leash and take off.
Well, how did he survive?
He's a smart dog.
He's not a smart dog. This is a dog that digs into the neighbor's yard. He takes off. I mean, you have a cat that's versatile that stays in one spot and gets eaten. This dog creates trouble, gets involved into everything, and still survives. And, I don't fucking know.
Hey. This old movie also got me mad because there's not one cat death scene. There's multiple cat death scenes.
Which is true. But Starbuck lived.
Yes,
and
Starbuck
he's
lived.
a troublemaker.
Yes. Starbuck lived. I'm sorry. That son needed to die. The son lives, okay? The son lives, but the son's an idiot.
Did at one point you think his bow and arrow had suction cups at the end of it? Because I was really looking, and it looked like there was nothing sharp at the end of his arrow. And I could have sworn, I leaned over to my wife and said, I bet you this is a cereal box 80s arrow set that has a suction cup, and he's pretending to be brave, and he just got fucking lucky.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because he shoots, four times with that arrow, with that bow and arrow, and misses every single
time.
one. Yeah. Except for the one where he literally is standing an inch away.
No wonder he has Starbuck as his best friend. He's the one doing all the work.
Exactly.
He's desperately seeking his dog because he's like, I'm going to fucking die without this dog.
Yeah, exactly. And the dog's like, listen, kid, I'm just checking on you. That's why Starbuck came back. He's like, listen, kid, I'm checking on you. Everything's going good. You still left? Cool. I'm living my best life out here. I've made some new friends. We're all good. Hey, we all like hunting cats together. It's fantastic. There's not one cat left.
Change your tone. The dog showed up saying, holy fuck, you're still alive?
Yes. He's like, you're still alive? I'm out here living my best life. There's not a cat left. Who's taking care of?
Hey, I saw a bunch of fucking turtles just inserted in the middle of the road. Do you want to go play with those things? That's what he fucking said.
In terms of SMAC, I think everybody knows. In terms of the SMAC rating, this is a dumpster fire pass. It's not a good movie. It's not a bad movie. It is an aggressively middle of the road movie, and that's all I can say about it.
This is one. Again, I message you. I can appreciate the sci-fi aspects of putting the puzzle pieces together, but you have to have some intrigue to it. You have to encourage the audience to want to put the pieces together to it. And you know what? I'm sure this is going to get a sequel. I'm sure this is a plan for a bigger spectrum of movies. And I look forward to those. I won't deny that, to see where they go with it if that's the case. But when it comes to overall, I agree. This is a pass for me. This one just didn't do it for me. It is one of those movies that I can appreciate people that go in August and say this entertained me. And I can't lie. Did it entertain? It kept my attention, but it pissed me off when I left because of how many questions that it left on the table. So in the moment, yeah, it's fun, but it's an angry fun that I'm picking this movie apart. That was the entertainment value to me, is just saying, why? So it's still a pass because, you know what? When it comes to streaming, I'll turn it on at 1:30 in the morning after my 9th bourbon just to fall asleep. But it is not one I'm going to seek out.
Anyway, Justin, how can they find you?
You can follow me anywhere you listen to podcasts at The Movie Wire. You can follow me on all the socials at Movie Wire Show. You can also check out the Cult-Worthy Cinema podcast and the Movie Wire's crossover show, Back to the Balcony, that is available on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Fantastic. You can find us at tsmackpod.com. You can click the Discord below, tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our avatars, Retrailer Studios. Leo Allen for our music. Beppo for original avatars, Retrailer Studio for our bonus avatars. And yeah, join our Discord. Come give us a talk, and we'll talk to everyone later. I did not click the button for music, so that's fine. So you know what I'm going to click on instead? I'm going to click on this.
Rage! Rage!
Thanks, Beppo. Bye.